that empty hand was supposed to be like the crazy master, and he's essentially like different, so we didn't put a sock for him.
Yeah, he walks around barefoot, so.
Yeah. So.
Not naked, right?
Alright. Oh, sorry.
There you go.
Wait, wait, Carter, you have the side bullets here, bring them out. So we can explain the characters.
Yeah.
So first off, these are just some of the examples we had that were similar to,
So we explain the genre of fantasy.
explain the genre a little bit. Harry Potter, obviously, with,
Where
you know,
magic.
you have the use of magic. This is a pretty iconic scene here from the movie, where you have two of the teachers at Hogwarts. They have a little duel here between Snape and
Great! Expelliarmus!
So there you see a little bit of use of magic there. And then another example is Lord of the Rings. You've got, you know, your classic dragons, classic creatures,
And
that you-
artifacts.
and artifacts that you'd see in
Like the rings.
like the rings that they'd see in a fantasy.
And also, the idea of characters, the theme, a common theme that might run through it is that, like, being the hero or the main person is kind of a lonely job, because the person who bears the ring in Lord of the Rings usually driven away from their friends and stuff, so they would be alone and carrying this giant burden. So it's not always good to be the hero or happy or fun to be the hero.
A couple other examples. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. You got your classic fantasy land, you know, with like the evil castle on one side and the good people on the other side, all that stuff.
Like good versus evil.
Good versus evil. And then, you know, just classic Game of Thrones. Everyone knows Game of Thrones. You got like zombies, and, you know, just all the classic creatures, dragons.
Yeah, but also this Game of Thrones also plays into the idea of magic and the elusive nature of magic, and how, like, at the beginning of the book, the first book of the Game of Thrones, I can't recall the name, but the use of magic is like very unknown and hidden. That's the same between our book. It's like magic is very much explained through science, but like it's also like it has two parts, like the binding between things. Like you can bind two objects and you can transfer heat to make the thing burn, but the binding is the fantasy part. But the transfer of heat and the conservation of it is what is it's the science part. So it's like it's not very well, like very much just do whatever you want or bend to your own will.
And then just a classic King Arthur and Merlin. You know, that's kind of where you kind of see where fantasy kind of originates from, almost, you know, Sword and Stone.
And like becoming the hero.
Yeah,
Another thing that I have that I thought is you become the hero. Like when you pull the stone, he was not a hero before, but when you pulled the stone from the stone, you became a hero, obviously. And also that's the same with Kvothe, as you saw in our summary. He went through he slayed the dragon, which wasn't really a dragon, but like there was a dragon, but like in a different sense. But he still, he never really thought himself as a hero, but he just did things that made him the hero. A quote that I have from that to explain that. At the end of the book, his apprentice, because this story is a book inside of a book. So the apprentice says, people saw him as a hero, and he played the part. He wore it like a mask, but eventually he believed it, and he became the truth.
So now we're going to get a little bit of explanation of our characters for you. Our main character here, Kvothe, as you saw in the puppet show we had for you, is Kvothe, played by yours truly, right here.
I had a story.
Yeah. When you start in the book, he's just a 12-year-old boy with his family's troop, and his family gets murdered, and he was the only survivor.
By this guy.
We kind of see, by Haliax, and we kind of see some of the beginning of his struggle there. But at the age of 12, he was wittier and more intelligent than anybody in this room. That's why Ben took a liking to him, and Ben recommended him to the university.
our old man guy.
This was
See
kind of
the
like
wrinkles?
just a
So
fill-in for
he's not
everyone.
really your classic hero either, which is different from any other fantasy book. He states in the beginning of the story that this isn't your classic hero story. It's full of tragedy, it's full of sorrow. It's not that happy ending kind of story that you would expect from a fantasy book.
Okay, so Denna. Oh. So this was Denna. I played Denna. She's the typical crush of the hero in the story. And she's kind of mysterious throughout the whole book, and she's traveling all around, so she's never really in one place, and that's why it's difficult for Kvothe to really, like, tell her that he loves her. And I thought that she played an important role because he kind of, well, she helped him kill the dragon, even though it wasn't that much. And she just, I guess, helped Kvothe develop throughout the story with his love for her.
A lot of explanation for her. So she's caught between a rock and a hard place because the era that she lived, she couldn't get a job and support herself. So what she did is may sound mean, but she took advantage of men and their idea of like and trying to love her. But she travels around all the place because she takes advantage of these men to help her buy stuff and stuff. But other ways she'd be a prostitute, or she would have to get married. And the thing about Denna, she doesn't like to stay in one place, but she can't not stay in one place in her situation. But she found a way to make it work by using her beauty, obviously, to take advantage of men. It may seem bad, but like when you think about it, it's like if men are falling all over her, like it's kind of like but she can't do anything else. So if she wants to do what she wants, I mean, that's a little bit to her two-sided character, you could say. She's not like your person who falls all over Kvothe when he did something great or something.
And then we have Kvothe's classic friends, from any fantasy. Like you see of Will and Sim mainly. Will and Sim are to Kvothe like Hermione and Ron are to Harry. You have Sim, who's kind of the innocent, kind of dumb one, like Ron, and then you have Will, who's the smarter one, kind of like Hermione. And mainly, it's just Sim and Will's role in the book is to kind of keep Kvothe grounded, because he doesn't know how to really control himself in some ways. Like at the university, he was working himself to the ground, taking as many classes as he could, and they said, "Hey, it's not worth it, man. You're gonna kill yourself doing it this way. You're leaving no time to hang with your friends, no time to go search for Denna," because they knew about Denna too. So they're mainly just a supporting role for Kvothe, but definitely without them, Kvothe wouldn't have done the things that he did.
And Fela, she was just kind of like a side friend towards Kvothe. He met her in the beginning when she was working at the desk at the archives, so she actually was kind of being taken advantage of by Ambrose, which is,
What you would expect.
well, yeah, we'll explain him next. But she's more of like just a friendly person in the book, and as you saw, she was saved by Kvothe in the fire. So she was thankful for that and kind of got flirty towards him too after that. So
I think she's more the character you'd expect rather than Denna to be the love interest in fantasy story.
yeah. And Haliax, like you saw in the summary, was one of the men. It was him and Cinder who killed Kvothe's parents. And he was kind of, I don't know if you saw, like he was portrayed as the sidekick to Cinder because he was kind of scared once Cinder got into the scene. So, yeah, that makes sense. But
There's a lot of characters.
yeah. But he played an important role because it helped Kvothe later on get over the fact that his whole troop is dead, his family, everyone he grew up with is gone, so now he has to become this independent hero of the story.
Yeah. So Haliax is Voldemort, and Ambrose is Draco Malfoy.
Yeah.
Ambrose was the one you saw in the video who threw his loot. She's kind of that annoying pest that doesn't leave him alone. He's rich. His father's got money. He even attempts to take Kavoth's life at one point in the story. So he's another antagonist to Kavoth, but not as major as Haliax is.
Haliax is more the driving force, like the hidden like, driving force between like this idea of like slaying the villain, like or getting justice for what they did to his family.
And then we have the masters, which are the men who run the university, and they're the teachers. There's a lot of them, but we're only going to go over 4 of them. Just the 4 main ones, because the other 4 don't really come up at all. There's Lauren, which is the tall guy you see there. He's the master archivist.
He's the one who runs the show at the
He
university.
runs the show, yeah. And then you have Elodin, which is the younger looking one here with kind of the messy hair. He's the master of naming.
He's this guy. He's crazy.
Yeah,
He's the naked guy.
Yeah.
He's the one who takes on Kavoth at the end there to teach him how to name things after he calls the name of the wind. And then there's Kilvin, who is the one all the way on the right. He makes like sympathy lamps. His goal is to create an ever burning fire in the book, but he sponsors Kavoth on his way up through the university, and Kavoth also works in his workshop to make money too.
That's what the fire was.
And that's what the fire was. And then there's Hem, which it's hard to tell in this picture, but I think it's him because he's got this doll in his hand, which is what Kavoth kind of uses to bind the fire you saw in there to him and burns his leg, and then he gets all mad.
I really just want to give him like, a hot foot.
Yeah, he gives him a hot foot.
But he accidentally burned it, so.
Yeah. And then, so that pretty much just sums up the master's role. That's it for that. So we're going to get into